Today's video is going to be one of those filled with all sorts of awkward moments to film. First things first. Gonna have to tidy up in here a little bit.
Hi guys, it's Emma, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then welcome to the chaos. I do everything music related on here, from audio engineering content to production and songwriting challenges to just talking about music and musician life. Today's video is like an audio engineering production challenge kind of video. We're messing about with an acoustic guitar amp. So I haven't touched this amp in years, and I actually did a little bit of a clear out of some of the little things that I bought when I first started buying music gear of any kind. This amp was one of the things I put on the list to clear out, and I got to the stage of testing if it still worked, and when I plugged it in I thought, that's a really nice tone though, isn't it? And obviously I can DI my acoustic guitar into my interface, and I can use acoustic amps through, like, Logic has acoustic amps that you can have, and obviously the neural amp modeler that I've briefly mentioned in other videos, you can get all sorts of amp models to use through that, and there are some acoustic options in there. So if I want to get that amped up acoustic guitar sound, I can use the DI'd signal and amp sim to do that. But this particular amp and then microphone selection means that I could have my own unique plugged in electroacoustic sound that wouldn't be like any amp sim that anybody else could use. It would be whatever I can achieve with the various mics and stuff that I have in here. Anyway, so I wanted to give it a try and see, one, how successfully can I record an amped up acoustic guitar out through that acoustic guitar amp in this room. And I'm going to test out some different placements on the amp and see what tones we get out of that. And if we have time, I might try swapping out the mic.
So, plan is, we're going to put the amp in the vocal booth. I'm going to face it this way, because I think if I can put the mic, in fact I'll put it up there while I'm down here. If I place the mic in front of it, because we're going to mic it up with an SM57. So my thought process is, if I put the mic so it's facing that way, it will reject more of the sound behind it, obviously, and we'll have the doors closed behind it, and then I'm also going to put my big panel then in front of the doors. That will create enough of a blockage of sound from out here getting in there, and rejection from this, that hopefully there won't be too much bleed from me actually playing the acoustic guitar out here, because obviously this is not soundproof. I mean, there's literally a hole over there for the for all the cables to go out of, so even with the doors, and the doors don't like seal shut or anything, but I'm hoping that it will be slightly more soundproofed by doing all that it will reject enough of the sound that it won't really factor into what we end up with. Right, let's see how we want that positioned in here. Let's grab a mic cable, which is over here, get it plugged in. We're going to plug it straight into my audio interface. Switch everything on, plug you in. Close these doors, and let's bring you over. Oh, okay, that's as good as we can get. Ta-da!
Next step, I need to plug in that mic, and I need that to be on input 2 in here. So then, next thing, I need that guitar lead. Let's plug you in. I need to decide how I'm actually going to do my balance. Like, am I going to set the gain roughly where I want it out here and then match the volume in there? No, I should set the volume to a volume I like on that and then sort the gain out here, shouldn't I? That's what I should do.
Okay, so let's sort the volume in here. So I'm just going to put more even settings on my EQ on my guitar, then bring the volume up. Let's bring that treble up. That treble is way too much, isn't it? Let's bring that down. Is that about the right kind of volume? I'm never sure what volume people record amps at, because obviously I've never done it. Like, I want the volume in here pretty big, because then it'll should definitely refuse the volume out there, shouldn't it? Okay, I think that's going to be a good volume. I don't want to go too loud right from the off, so I feel like that's good.
I am going to mute this mic, because otherwise we're going to get a lot of noise here that might be weird and too much. So I'm going to mute the mic sound so that you're just getting the desktop audio sound, because that will give you the guitar sound, and that's what's more important in this section of the video.
Let's just get the level right. 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 That's promising, but that's not coming through much in there. I can't really hear that out here either. Anyway.
Bad tone. It's maybe a bit tinny, so I'm gonna mess with the EQ in that. Should I mess with the EQ on my guitar maybe as well? Because obviously I've got two sets of EQ going into that amp. I've got the amp's EQ and I've got my guitar EQ. So let's try turning up the bass on my guitar EQ, because the pickup out of this guitar isn't naturally extremely bassy. You have to turn the bass up quite a bit to get a decent bass tone. I actually turned the bass down on that as well though, because I thought it wasn't sounding bassy enough, but now hearing it through this, maybe it wants to be bassier. So I'm gonna give the bass on this a bit of a boost. And let's compare. It's definitely an improvement from more bass there. Maybe it needs more mid as well, though. Yeah, I think that's a lot nicer than that was, wasn't it? Yeah, because that's extremely tinny, whereas this is... I suppose because I'm plucking there, you're getting more of a screechy kind of finger sound. So let's try boosting the mids a little bit as well. And then if we're still thinking we might want to make some alterations to the EQ, I might try altering the EQ on the amp in there. But I'm actively trying to avoid that at the moment because it's more of a faff to go back in there. Let's see how that sounds in comparison. Oh, I wouldn't say it's better. I think I actually made it worse. Yeah, that one's definitely nicer, isn't it? I think what I might want to do then is move the mids back down on that. Maybe I want to take the treble down on the amp, because obviously you've got a relationship going on here between wherever the EQ is affecting on the signal of the guitar going out versus wherever the EQ is set on that amp to affect, because it could be that the treble and the mids and the bass are all set at different actual frequencies in terms of where they start boosting and stuff. But also then you've got the effect that the mic then has on what it picks up. Now, in my experience so far, I've found that an SM57, I do get something of a tinny tone from it, I find. I don't know if that's going to be a popular or unpopular opinion, if people are going to be like, what do you mean it's tinny? Or I'll be like, yeah, you know. But I find that when I've used it to just record acoustic guitar, for instance, the tone I get out of it is a bit more of that scratchy kind of... Definitely doesn't seem to be a mic that's very prone to picking up bass massively. But also mic placement matters. You know, we've got the mic set relatively close in there currently, but it could get closer, it could get further away, and that's going to affect its relationship to bass and treble, and also where on the speaker, that's going to affect the EQ as well. So let's first of all try bringing the treble down on that acoustic guitar amp's EQ settings and see how we like that. And then we're going to try some moving around the mic and see what it sounds like in different places. Should I play the guitar? No, I'm just literally going to turn it down just a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to turn it down and then we'll record it and see, because I feel like I'll be influenced in my decision of how much to turn the treble down by what it actually sounds like coming out the amp. But obviously that's not what really matters. What really matters right now is what it sounds like going into this, because to my ears that sounded better with less bass and with less and more treble. But I'm not the mic. The mic has different ears to me, so we need to set it to the mic's ears. So I'm just gonna go in and turn the treble down a bit and then do another recording and see how we like it. I'm gonna put it about there and we'll see how we like that. Compared to this one. I feel like I could go either or with those two. Like this one is cleaner overall. It's not as scratchy because of that, but we've lost a little bit of that brightness. But with this one, the scratchy is kind of ruining the brightness because it's a bit too scratchy. You know, I could take either of those recordings and I could probably EQ this to try and bring down some of those particularly scratchy frequencies. And I could EQ this to lift that treble a little bit more after. And maybe if we've got fewer, let's have a quick play and see. Let's pop an EQ on each of these and see. So we can either boost this up. I do quite like that. If instead we focused on trying to remove the scratchy from this one. Because even more than just EQ it out, I can also, let's reduce it even more when it's particularly bad. Okay, how's that? How does that compare? That's this one. Versus this one. Ooh, I'm still torn. Like, this one still isn't as bright as this one, but this one is still a little bit too squeaky, so maybe I just needed to turn down the treble a little bit less. Or maybe I will like a slightly different mic placement better. That's our next question. Let's try a different mic placement. What do we think? We were going to try different placement on the speaker or different distance first? There you go. That's very close. Very close. Let's see how that sounds. Ooh. That is bassy. In a way I kind of like it, but now I'm wondering, I'm going to have to do another one with that same mic placement, but with the treble turned back up. Turn you back up, treble, back up to roughly where you were before, I think. Perhaps I should have also turned the bass on the guitar back down a little bit. I'm happy that I probably wouldn't want it quite that close mic'd. Unless I was using this as like a secondary guitar tone maybe, where I had quite a bright mic'd up acoustic maybe and I wanted to give it some beef in certain sections, maybe then I would opt to add this in. I think I'm gonna move on to moving it around the amp speaker. So let's try having you out there. How do I get you over there? I need a smaller mic stand for this, really. This isn't the ideal way to do this, but that's working all right. So let's see how that sounds. Top corner is where it's at now. Ooh. Interesting, nice, I like that. That's a more distinctive tone. I think I want to try a different mic. I think, predictably, I like to hear pretty much everything through my SE4400s. Have I turned you guys back on? Yes, because they're very flat in terms of their frequency response. So they're a good mic to like try first and see how you like it on things, and then make decisions from there about which mic you might try instead of them. Okay, hello in here again. Just gonna unplug this mic and take it off. I think that's close enough to roughly where I want it. There's a very strong possibility that this is now going to be way too loud. Just gonna hold you guys over this. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see what I'm doing here at all. I can't see what I'm doing here. That's the problem, isn't it? Which one's the pad? It's that one. Should I go straight for -20? Because even -10 I don't think would be enough. I'm gonna go for -20. It would have perhaps been a good idea to tune at some point during this video, but hey, just to reiterate what I actually had to do there in the middle, because obviously my mic was muted, and I don't know how well each camera will have picked up. I realized I'd been a silly Billy and that it was going to be the signal coming out was going to be way too loud for these mics, because obviously large diaphragm condensers in general are very sensitive. My SC4400s in particular are very sensitive, but they do have a pad option on them, and they've got a -10 dB and a -20 dB, and I went straight for the -20 because before I'd even touched the gain on here, it was already hitting -18 on here. So I was like, yeah, let's go for -20 straight off the bat. And I think that's probably worked quite well because it reduced it quite a bit. So let's hear how it's come out in terms of sound. Ooh! This one's the one that probably has the closest to the same settings as is currently on that in there. So this is what this sounded like. Much brighter, see? Can really hear that there. That's way screechier and brighter than this. I really like how that sounds through here. I mean, I like both of them in different ways. This is amped up kind of sound, you know? It's giving more of an amp feel to it almost, but this is giving such a lovely full sound still. So I think I'm gonna have to play around in the next batches because I'm about to start recording a new batch of my songs soon. That's part of why I wanted to do this video and mess around with this, because I had this idea. I was like, oh, I could actually use that amp and record my guitar through that amp to get a really unique acoustic guitar sound. Anywho, I just wanted to have a mess around with that. What do you guys think? Which of the tones that we achieved so far did you like best? Obviously, there isn't a right answer to this. It's entirely like personal preference and what you're actually aiming for in a track. If you enjoyed this video, then you might like my content in general on this channel, because this is the kind of stuff we do here. Although we haven't done something quite as fun and quirky as this in a while, so that was fun. Any ideas you guys have for weird, quirky videos like this where you'd like to see me try something just for the sake of trying it would be welcomed. But yeah, if you enjoy that kind of content, then you might want to consider hitting that subscribe button. But I know that's a big decision to make. You wouldn't want to subscribe and unsubscribe, so do feel free to check out some more videos on this channel before you do so. There'll be something recommended on the end screen for you. The song I was using in this video and that is playing in the background now is my latest release. Woo! Links to where you can stream and buy it and all that are in the description below, as well as links to my various artist socials, because I do have separate socials for my artist stuff. There's also a link down there to my Buy Me a Coffee, where I have memberships that you can join if you want to get some extra content on top of this, but there's also an option just to send me a one-off little donation if you just wanted to say, cool video, mate. Anywho, that is all for this week's video. I shall see you guys next time with, I don't know what, something. I'll come up with something.